Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94, back with another reaction video. Today, we're going to react to When Family Matters Died. Oh boy. Oh boy. Without further ado, let's get right into this. When Family Matters Died. Okay, let's get right into it. Oh. Did I do that?
Family Matters was one of the longest-running and most popular sitcoms in TV history. It was a spin-off of the popular sitcom Perfect Strangers, based on two side characters from its third and fourth seasons, the quick-witted elevator operator Harriet Winslow, and her policeman husband, Carl. Family Matters ran for 9 seasons with many changes throughout its near-decade-long run. The most significant being the introduction and breakout success of the lovable nerd Steve Urkel, who is often labeled as the savior of the series and its destroyer. I agree that Urkel's perplexing amount of alter egos and inventions got out of hand as the series went on.
Yep.
But I also think there were other factors that led to Family Matters' decline as well. So here's my take on how and when Family Matters died. Family Matters debuted on ABC on September 22nd, 1989.
Hey, bro, we ain't gonna act like
Family
we ain't gonna act like we ain't see this fucking typo right here, bro. What the fuck? We ain't gonna act like we ain't see this now. You fucked up. 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 Nah, we ain't gonna go past that, bro. We ain't gonna go past that. You put a G instead of an E, my nigga. The fuck is a welcome? Welcome G. Welcome G. What the fuck is a Welcome G to Windsors? Season 1. What the fuck is that, bro? What is that? What is that?
What is that? Why? What the hell? Oh my god, no. Fuck, man. Get your ass on, boy. Get your goddamn ass on. Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Matters debuted on ABC on September 22nd, 1989, and Season 1 introduced us to the Winslow household, who was Carl and Harriet, their 3 kids Eddie, Laura, and Judy, Carl's mother Estelle, and...
Ah, yes, Judy. We all know what happened to Judy, right? We all know what happened to Judy, right?
You some freaky ass nigga. Freaky drawn. You freaky. You freaky drawn. Freaky drawn. You freaky. You some freaky ass nigga. Fucking freaky frog.
We all know what happened to we all know what happened to Judy Winslow, right? We all aware, right? Yes, sir. She was like, hey, even though she only did like 2 scenes and dipped, can't lie though. You can't lie though. There was some. Hey, boy. Judy could take a dick, boy. I tell you that, but that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say, boy. She could take a dick, boy. Woo! I got that on my system.
Harriet's younger sister Rachel, with her infant son Richie. One of the primary intentions the creators had in making Family Matters was to contrast the Cosby Show's white-collar, picture-perfect family by...
And they failed miserably, bro. It's like, bro, it's a reason why certain shows, formulas work for those certain shows, because it's for those shows. You can't just copy and paste formulas, bro. Sometimes you gotta be original. Like, back in these times, you actually had to be original. You actually had to make an original concept. You couldn't just copy and paste another show, bro. Only way you could copy and paste another show was if that other show was somewhere internationally and it wasn't in your country. So I trust to believe there's a lot of shows that came from, whether it came from Germany, India, England, France. It's a bunch of shows, concepts that got stolen and brought to America. I give you a prime example. Sanford and Son. Sanford and Son was based off a British television show with 2 white guys. Let that sink in for a moment.
by focusing on an imperfect blue-collar family. So with that intention in mind, the first half of Season 1 focused on situations around the Winslows' home life to get us familiar with their imperfect family dynamic, such as the readjustment and authority struggle when Estelle moved in, the siblings' rivalry based on their grades at school, or Laura accidentally selling a quilt that carries the Winslows' 200-year-old family history. A few of these early episodes also focused on the adults' work life and how they affected the dynamic at home too, such as Harriet's search for a new job to help keep the family finances afloat, Rachel's tenuous attempts at being a freelance writer that usually caused tension in the home, and how Carl's duties on the force sometimes created trust issues with Harriet. Up to this point, Family Matters was entertaining because of the Winslows' quick-witted banter and their lifelike family chemistry. But behind the scenes, the show's performance was considered to be mediocre, putting Family Matters in danger of getting canceled. But the trajectory of the show was changed forever in the 12th episode, Laura's First Date, when Steve Urkel made his debut appearance. As the story goes, Carl asks Steve to take Laura, his longtime crush, to a dance after Carl finds out Laura was worried nobody might ask her. And Urkel's klutzy nature and lack of social skills becomes an obvious sign to Carl that he needs to backpedal on his plan. Hardly anyone would argue that Urkel's physical comedy and oddball humor took the show to another level in this episode, but Urkel was only intended to be a one-off character, and audiences instantly clamored to see more of the Winslows' lovesick nerdy neighbor. So the remaining episodes had to be quickly rewritten so that Jaleel White's breakout character could return for the rest of the season as a guest. The creators even refilmed 4 of the cold opens from previous episodes, so that Urkel would feel like part of the show from the beginning when reruns would air in syndication. With Urkel's wind in its sails, Family Matters survived an early cancellation, and in Season 2, the Winslows' world was greatly expanded beyond the walls of their home. Rachel started a restaurant called Rachel's Place that became the new teen hangout, and it was the workplace for her, Laura, and Urkel. So storylines frequently took place there, making it feel like a second home for the show. Carl's work life was expanded upon by featuring more storylines where he's on duty, and was now accompanied by his commanding officer, Lieutenant Murtaugh, a caricature of an overzealous yet dim-witted cop who eventually becomes hopelessly infatuated with Rachel. Eddie, Laura, and Urkel's world also expanded by featuring a lot more episodes about their life at school, populated with new recurring classmates and friends, like Laura's best friend Maxine, and the charming village idiot Waldo, who would become Eddie's best friend in Season 3. Season 2 is also when Jaleel White officially became part of the main cast, by joining his co-stars in the opening credits, and is a time when Urkel's popularity reached new heights. For example, Jaleel White improved his character's most famous catchphrase that was introduced in Season 1.
Did I do that?
To sound more nasally in Season 2.
Did I do that?
Giving it the definitive sound we still hear in our minds today. Season 2 is also when the classic Urkel dance debuted, and when we were introduced to the show's first alter ego character, Urkel's cousin Myrtle, who was played flawlessly by Jaleel White as a female version of Urkel from the South, who falls desperately in love with Eddie. In addition to Urkel's increased presence and popularity on the show, he also received more emotional development in the episode Marriage 101 by showing that underneath Steve's annoying mannerisms, he is a person with feelings and can't be treated poorly without it affecting him. From then on, he was no longer just an annoying kid to be tolerated. He became a sympathetic character that audiences wanted to root for. Family Matters' 3rd and 4th seasons were enjoyable as the first 2, but in hindsight, this is when some early signs of decay started to creep in that led to the show's decline. For example, in the Season 3 episode Making the Team, it's revealed that Urkel has amazing basketball skills despite being the klutziest person on the face of the earth. It was an enjoyable episode on its own, and according to Wikipedia, it had the highest viewership.
That was a fire-ass episode. What we talking about here? That was a fire-ass episode, bro. What? When Urkel was playing basketball and busting their ass on top of that? What? That was a... What? He was busting their ass, bruh. Urkel was him, bruh. Urkel was him on that court, bruh. Because it was the first time we actually saw Urkel not being clumsy, bro. That's... You kind of want... And I felt like And me personally, I felt like if they would have developed that more, where Urkel started to become less clumsy and more aware, and as he was growing up, his attitude and his demeanor started to change a little bit. He started to become more aware of things. He could still be that he could still have that Urkel charm, but at some point he does have to grow up. I think that was the biggest problem, bro. They never let Urkel truly grow up and grow. They never let his character truly grow. They just kept him the same, bro. Like, as he got older, bro, he should have became less clumsy and more like, he should have became like less clumsy, I think, as time went on. Instead of adding the Stefan character, things should have just started changing for Urkel naturally. He is growing up, and then when you grow up and you're growing into your body, you start facial structure starts changing. You're getting a little taller. You know what I'm saying? Then the next thing you know, we could take the glasses off. Then we could take the suspenders off. Then we could start then he could start looking like he could still be Urkel, but he's growing into his own man. I feel like that's where I think the problem with Urkel started to begin. I think that this episode right here should have been the beginning of Urkel developing. His character is developing. It's growing. This should have been the first episode right here. Basketball. Okay, now you on a team. Now you hanging out with the cool kids. Now you got a little swagger about you. So now we can lose the suspenders. We can take the suspenders off. Now he can start walking around with the, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? He can start walking around with the jeans. He can start walking around with jeans and tennis shoes, you know, and a school t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? With his name on the back or whatever. That would have been dope development, bro. I think that's the real problem with Family Matters, bro. They should have just let Urkel develop into his own man. Because it's crazy how everybody else developed. Lore developed. We ain't gonna speak about Judy. We already spoke about Judy and her development. But Eddie developed the most out of everybody, bro. It really felt like Eddie should have been the main focus of the entire series, really, because he had the most character development out of anybody. Waldo even started developing at some point. Some areas he was developing in, not in all areas, but some areas he was developing in. And then you got Laura, she was developing. Carl and his wife was developed with character traits were developing. Everybody was developing along except for Urkel, bro. And it's like Urkel was just the same old club. And that's why I think the show started to dwindle down a little bit, because you just gonna keep seeing the same rinse, recycle, repeat shit. Urkel gonna do something stupid that's gonna trigger. And I understand they had to do that in order to trigger, you know, the plot of the story and all that. But at some point, we have to let the characters grow, bro. That's what makes the show good, when the characters grow. From the first episode to the last episode, we should always see character development. There was no character development for Urkel. It was just alter fucking egos. So that was their way of saying, instead of us developing his character, let's just keep Urkel, and then let's just make all these bullshit ass alter egos and cousins. Shit was terrible.
But within the show's greater context, it established that Urkel could become whatever the show needed him to be in order to attract viewers, which would become a bigger problem later on. Along those lines, it's also important to note that Season 3 is when plots featured more science fiction elements through Urkel's inventions, like when he used a jetpack to win a rope climbing contest, or built an artificially intelligent Urkelbot that was featured in 2 episodes.
Urkelbot!
Making Urkel a master inventor, capable of creating anything he puts his mind to, would also hurt the show in later seasons. Seasons 3 and 4 are also when Family Matters started to focus more on the teenage characters, which is a common evolutionary step for TV shows about families. But that, combined with the omnipresence of Urkel, meant that other characters like Rachel, Estelle, and Judy had less to do, since they didn't easily fit into a teenage-focused storyline. In Season 3, Estelle mostly appeared to say something funny when quickly coming and going from her tennis games. And in Season 4, it seemed the show was hinting that Estelle would be appearing a lot less going forward, when her courtship with Fletcher culminated in their marriage in the episode Mama's Wedding. Judy was very underutilized throughout the show, sometimes appearing to deliver just one line, or to simply appear to fill a scene. And after Mama's Wedding, Judy was never seen or heard from again. She was retconned out of the family like she never existed.
Facts.
Rachel's dwindling presence throughout Season 4, leading to her complete departure in Season 5, was because Thelma Hopkins began work on another ABC sitcom, Getting By, which only lasted a couple seasons before getting canceled. And it's here in the last 5 seasons when I think the show lost its way, mainly because the Winslow family had changed too much. There was an over-reliance on Urkel's inventions and alter egos, and some issues I found with Lara and Urkel's relationship drama. As I mentioned earlier, in Season 5, the Winslow household had changed quite a bit. Estelle wasn't around as much anymore because she got married and moved out. Judy was retconned out of the family, and Rachel was gone too, with the exception of a few appearances in Season 6 and one in Season 9, which was awkward because her son Richie was still appearing frequently on the show without her. Things changed even more for the Winslows in Season 7, when another little kid, 3J, was introduced when Urkel gets involved in the Big Brother program, and he's eventually adopted by the Winslows in Season 8. The last major change to the Winslows was an abrupt appearance of a new Harriet in the middle of the 9th and final season. Jo Marie Payton had wanted to do other projects for years, but agreed to stay on Family Matters to help keep the show going. But when her contract expired after Season 8, she was ready to walk away for good, but was convinced to film half of Season 9's episodes to help the show transition to its new network on CBS. So by the end of Season 9, the Winslow family was very different than the group of people we had come to know in the beginning. And these changes all started with the disappearance of Rachel and Judy in Season 5. But as other characters' roles had diminished or disappeared altogether, one significant character that was added to the show in Season 4
R.I.P. Myra. R.I.P.
He develops a very unhealthy fixation on Steve Urkel and is determined to help him overcome his undying affection for Lara.
And that should have
Thomas's performance wasn't entertaining.
And that should have helped with his character development. Like I said, you get rid of the suspenders. Because look how tall he is now. He's not a little kid no more. So he can't really squinch his back like that no more. So the best thing you could do really is get rid of the suspenders. You know, have him start looking a little bit more swagged out. A little bit more modern to the times. You know what I'm saying? Ditch the glasses at some point. Or at least get some cool shades. You know what I'm saying? Some cool glasses that make him look cool and you know, hip. You know what I'm saying? You want to make Urkel, the older kids get, the more hip it is. It's better to be hip than try to stand. Bro, the nerdy thing, it's cool when you little kids. As you get older as a teenager though, and going into adulthood, it's best to fit in with the times, bro. Cause ain't no kid trying to dress like Urkel. Ain't no kid trying to look like Urkel. Fuck out of here.
Entertaining blend of charm and psychotic creepiness that made Myra endearing yet unnerving. Creating a love triangle between Lara, Steve, and Myra at the end of Season 4 was an interesting premise, and it was made even more compelling when Lara started to show more genuine feelings for Steve. But instead of keeping it simple, I think the show went too far to complicate the tension in Season 5, in the episode Dr. Urkel and Mr. Cool, by introducing Steve Urkel's alter ego, Stefan Urkel. In the episode, Steve has reached a new level of desperation to win Lara's affections by coming up with a scientific breakthrough in genetic engineering, by inventing an elixir of his cool genes to drink it down and turn himself into his suave polar opposite, Stefan. Lara becomes infatuated with Urkel's alter ego, but her affections soon turn cold once she realizes Stefan is too self-centered and admits she'd rather have Steve back, which happens after the elixir wears off. In the Season 5 finale, Stefan returns. Urkel invents a transformation chamber that perfected Stefan to be more caring and likable, although the transformation is still only temporary. And when Steve sees how upset Lara is about losing this version of Stefan, he vows to figure out a way to make the transformation permanent. And this storyline is largely ignored until the season 7 finale, Send in the Clone, when Urkel creates a cloning device, makes a clone of himself, and then turns one of them into Stefan, so Myra and Lara can each have the man of their dreams. But I think the whole relationship arc between Lara, Steve, Myra, and Stefan dragged on for way too long. In the last few seasons, Urkel was constantly announcing and re-announcing his feelings for Myra. Lara, on the other hand, eventually realizes she has deeper feelings for Steve than she thought possible. And near the end of season 7, she kisses him passionately for being her perfect date. But then after that, she went right back to treating him like an annoyance until the middle of season 9, when she realizes again that she loves him, like it was the first time it had ever happened. She eventually admits her feelings for Steve, and then they both end their separate relationships and get engaged. It's a nice finish from where they started way back in season 1, but the path getting there since Myra's introduction was very inconsistent and poorly paced. Dr. Urkel and Mr. Cool was one of the most viewed episodes of the season because of the spectacle of seeing Urkel, and Jaleel White for that matter, look and act more normal. But similar to making the team in season 3, Stefan was another example of how Urkel became whatever he needed to be in order to keep audiences entertained. As I mentioned earlier, Urkel invents a transformation chamber that perfected Stefan to be more caring and likable. Aside from making Stefan, the transformation chamber was also used to give us several more Urkel alter egos, like Carl Urkel, Eddie Urkel, Einstein Urkel, Elvis Urkel, and Bruce Lee Urkel. And in addition to those characters, seasons 7 through 9 is also when Myrtle made a comeback as a recurring character, and an episode featuring Urkel's other cousin, Cornelius Eugene Urkel, better known as OGD, Original Gangsta Dog. And it's also at this point when the series went further down the rabbit hole of becoming a sci-fi sitcom, with Urkel being able to create any invention necessary to give the show something new to do. Besides using the transformation chamber as a genetic modifier, it was also used once to shrink and enlarge objects, and there were several other inventions featured on the show as well, such as a sleeping potion, a love potion, a speed-up potion, a popcorn-popping recliner, an Isetta dragster, a teleportation device, a force field belt, a weight compressor, a time travel watch, phonetic exploding powder, and an artificial gravity field that Urkel used in outer space. Despite all the issues I have with the last 5 seasons, trying to pick a date when I think the show died was more difficult than I thought it would be. But after all my deliberations, I made my choice based on what Family Matters was initially supposed to be about.
Family Matters.
Blue-collar family trying to get through life. And when Urkel became a surprise breakout star, I think the creators still managed to maintain that vision alive for a while, before getting lost in the weeds somewhere in the middle. Which is why I think the episode Mama's Wedding that aired on March 5th, 1993 is the day when Family Matters died. Because it was the last time the Winslow family that you and I think of today was still intact.
Yep.
And before Family Matters became a sci-fi sitcom, where Urkel's inventions, alter egos, and confusing relationships were what mattered most. Click a video on the screen for more engaging content right here on Fun Fact Films.
Yeah, I agree, but like I said at the same time, they still should have developed Urkel as a character, bro. There was no need for all these side characters, bro. Like the Myrtle thing, I'll let the Myrtle thing slide. But if you was gonna turn him into Stefan, why not just have Urkel develop into Stefan? You didn't have to give him an alter ego to fit the fans, bro. You could have developed him into that. He was getting older, bro. They swear, like, these companies swear they know people so well. Like, it would have worked because you would have developed Urkel as a character. Make him less clumsy, more focused, make him more goal driven. He's more goal driven. He's still a nerd at heart. You know, he's still getting straight A's in school. He's still, you still want to have that positive, enforcement in place. You always want him to have good grades. You always want him to be smart. You know what I'm saying? But now you adding in the swag, you adding in the sports. You creating a character that could honestly be a role model. But they don't never think like that. Anyway, so that's just going to about do it for this one. I'll see y'all in the next video. Tell me what y'all think down in the comment section below. I'll get back to you till then. Peace out.